I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome. Oh,
No, here we are again is all I was going to say. You can say welcome back.
welcome back. Here we are again. So, on this beautiful Tuesday morning or afternoon, or maybe you're listening to us on Wednesday. Maybe, you're
Right.
catching up with everything on Thursday.
You could be listening to us in the year 2042. Honestly.
Next week, maybe it's August
Could
by the
be.
time you're listening to this. Either way, welcome. We're going to be talking about some trends today. And what had me thinking about this, which I always tell you, like, anytime I'll have a random idea pop up in my head, I really do have to, like, write it down because I almost forgot. But I saved it because I was watching TikTok last night, like I always do, staying up till later than I should, watching
Yep.
TikTok. And I came across this video where it was talking about how waterbeds are now extinct.
They're officially extinct.
Like, they're not a thing anymore.
Wow.
And it was just talking about, like, why. And I liked it. I saved it because I was like, I want to talk about that. And, like, different kinds of trends that, like, were such a big trend, but are not anymore.
Right.
And first of all, yes, say what you're going to say.
Should we start off there then with waterbeds?
Yeah, we can start off with waterbeds.
Yeah, so I remember we had a waterbed. The first bed your mom and I had when we got married was a waterbed. And
what made you get that?
Because they were a thing. Because everybody thought they were the greatest. It was supposed to be so comfortable. It's like you're sleeping on a cloud. Ours, I think it actually had a setting that you could put heat on, and we lived up in the north then, so having
Luxury.
the bed that it would heat, like that was great. And then the other thing was the beds they made back then, like they had like a whole, like they were like a whole luxury. It had a mirror on the back of the headboard. It had doors, glass doors that you could store stuff in that were lighted inside. I mean, it looked like something, out of like what you would think would be a king's, bed, this thing did. But, the biggest problem was with a waterbed is, well, first of all, this one was super heavy because it was all wood. But then also because you have all that water in it, it's also super heavy because of that. So you don't move a waterbed like you do. To move a waterbed, it involves emptying the bed out and emptying all the water.
How do you fill the waterbed?
Like literally with a hose.
You have to drag the outdoor hose inside into your bedroom through the house.
Exactly. Yeah. And when we had it, we were living in a third floor apartment at the time too. So
how would I fill said waterbed if I lived where I do now?
So they had like an attachment. I think it came with it too that you hooked up to your sink that you could hook the hose up to then. And I think it came with the hose too.
Why is my water bill so much this month?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's right. I
had to fill up the waterbed.
Yeah. But and then there's the other thing of when your waterbed gets a leak and you think that the person in the bed with you peed themselves. There's that too.
Your bed getting a leak is so crazy.
Right?
I feel like, maybe this is just my generational brain talking, but can we both agree that a waterbed is a bona fide, like, air mattress?
Oh, yeah.
It's literally a slightly fancier air mattress.
Yeah.
It's giving air mattress vibes.
The thing is, it's not, but it's not an air mattress. Like an air mattress, when it's pumped up,
it's a water-filled air mattress.
Firm. Yeah, but an air mattress, if you have it pumped up firm and it doesn't have a leak in it, like it's firm. A waterbed, like you can only put so much water in that thing, and it's always going to kind of have that sloshy, yeah. Thinking back on it, it was a bad decision. There's
this bed by Purple Mattress. I think we tried it. We sampled it in.
Are they sponsoring the podcast today?
Purple, yes. Click our link down below, and
you
we
can't
get 10%.
That. Yeah, you can't say that unless they are. Don't do that.
I'm trying to manifest.
Yeah.
So,
but if they want to sponsor us,
no, they're not sponsoring us, and I'm about to end. Because they're not sponsoring us until they do sponsor us. I'm about to throw some shade their way. They
Oh,
have
okay.
this they have this mattress that I tried at City Furniture because you can go in there,
Yep.
um, try out the mattresses in their mattress center. And they have that purple mattress. And there's this one purple mattress because I know purple has like a couple different mattresses. It feels like a waterbed. It feels so
Oh,
like
really?
squashy and gross and like I
Yeah.
hate
No.
that. I
Yeah.
like a nice.
Some of those like memory foam things are kind of have that sloshy, depending on the type of material they are in that. Yeah.
I do not like you get too close to the edge and it'll like sling you off. Like that's what
Yeah.
that kind of feels like
I
to
wonder.
me.
I want to know two things, and I'm going to look this up, and maybe I'll paste it somewhere over. But um, when did waterbeds become a thing? Like when was like the first waterbed put out, and then when did they kind of really stop being a thing? Like I haven't been in a
Probably early
store.
2000s.
Yeah, I haven't been in a store where I saw a waterbed. I might even be earlier than that. Like since we bought ours, like I think probably a few years after we bought ours, that's when they went the other way.
Okay, so
Um,
it says the modern waterbed was invented in 1968 by Charles Hall as part of his master's thesis at San Francisco State University. He
that's
received a
hilarious.
patent for his invention in 1971. Waterbeds became commercially available in the 1970s, and their popularity peaked in the late 80s. Um,
That's about
the,
right.
ni- the 1990s, waterbeds declined in popularity due to factors like the rise of other mattress technologies and maintenance issues. Yeah, the video I saw, it's funny because they said that you had to insert like some kind of solution or whatever into your waterbed so that the water didn't just like get gross over time, which
Yeah,
makes sense
yeah.
because, yeah, if I just have this nasty sitting water in, like, you can't just.
Oh yeah, because we have like the water bowl for the cat. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
one with the filter in it, and that has like two filters in this thing. And still every day, if I don't go and rinse it out, it gets this like
Oh,
sliminess on
yeah.
it, even with a pump running it constantly. And I'm like, as we're talking about this, I'm like, oh, what must that water in that bed have been like by the or if you've ever had like we had one of the pool floats that had a little bit of a leak in it, and when I emptied it, like water came out, and like the end of the water was like
Ugh.
very disgusting. So I'm like, yeah, I can't even imagine what the water in the waterbed was like when we
Was a
finally
waterbed
sent it on its way.
was it cheaper than like the
Oh no.
regular mattress?
No, they were much more expensive. They were a lot more
What?
expensive. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
they
feeling
were
it
expensive.
myself. How's it more expensive? You're
Cuz
giving me latex
you got to
basically.
you got to put together that giant balloon. Come on. I'm sleeping
That's
on a giant
crazy.
balloon. It's a giant water balloon. I'm sleeping on it.
Yeah,
You know
you
what else
can.
though I kind of think of that's like similar to the whole waterbed thing that probably era wise is a little bit after though is beanbag chairs. Like are beanbag chairs still a thing?
Yes, I want to get one for here. I love a good
Oh,
beanbag chair. They're
wow.
just
Because I
better
feel like they're
now.
a 70s. Maybe that's it.
They're
Maybe
better
that's it.
now. They don't
The
have like the
ones
same
back then
beams
it
in
was
it.
just like this big giant like you
Have
know.
you seen the ones by oh my gosh, I can't remember the brand. It's that Lovesac. The Lovesac
Oh,
ones.
they make ones?
They
Really?
make the
Wow.
huge, like the ginormous ones that, oh my gosh, it's like hundreds and hundreds. I think like literally close to $1,000 for a bean bag for their biggest bean bag. But they have some pretty good bean bags. They're kind of still a little bit of a thing. Probably not as much as they were back in the 90s. I feel like everyone had bean bags. Now it's more like kid
Yeah.
based on the
Yeah.
beanbag trend.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I love a good beanbag. I wouldn't buy a
Yeah.
waterbed. Waterbed, it's a no for me.
No,
I wouldn't
no,
get
but
it.
you know what? As we're talking about, like a lot of these like trendy things, they go out and then they come back in. And I wonder, will there ever be a point where the water beds will come back?
Oh yeah.
I won't jump on the bandwagon when they do, because been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I don't know,
How long did
don't
you
need
have
that.
yours?
We had it
I
a
remember
while.
when you
Like I
had
think we
it.
moved. I think we moved and had to move it, which meant you got to drain it and all that, and then you got to like fill it up again. But we had it a while. I remember being very happy to get rid of it. And like today, I think of our bed, and I would not want a waterbed now. I like a nice mattress to sleep on. No
I
water
think
beds for
that's
me.
I'm way too
'Cause-
picky about my mattress to ever want to have a waterbed.
yeah,
Draining it, filling it, no.
yeah,
And especially like you guys had, I remember when I was younger and you guys had the waterbed. Also a risky move to have a waterbed and children because
yeah,
we just must have been well behaved or know that we can't mess around on your waterbed because
yeah,
I mean, as a kid, the thought process is like, yeah, I mean, kids are rowdy. Of course, I'm gonna
yeah.
want to go and dive onto your waterbed. Like,
Well, and the thing is, if like more than one person is on the waterbed, if one person's on and another person kind of jumps on overly aggressively, that first person is going to get like,
oh,
they're going to get
see,
popped into the air. That's it's
Sure.
yeah, that it can be dangerous. It could be. They should have made you sign a waiver before you bought one of those because those probably had serious safety hazards going on with those. And then
Um,
I think about it having heat, and I'm like, that also seems kind of dangerous too.
yeah,
But
that's
it
one of
was,
the things it was talking about in that video, how like people liked it because, but then some people said it was bad on their back, but other people said that it was
yeah,
good for your back because it kind of forms to your body, but not
yeah.
really.
Well, it forms to your body, but it didn't give much support. You know what I mean? I mean, it did because I don't know. I didn't think it was a good support system for your back at all.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad that.
So I looked up other little trends from the 90s.
Yeah,
And what the top one here is remember when we went absolutely nuts for yo-yos for a bit?
yo-yos. I feel like every like kid there was like they had the light up ones when I was a kid. The Duncan
There were people
yo-yos.
doing tricks like with
Oh
yo-yos
yeah,
back in the day. I
yeah,
think truthfully, like with a lot of the little toys like that that are probably on this list, I think the issue is that just technology has kind of taken over. Have you seen the Toy Story like
the
thing
new
where it's
one.
yeah, like the iPad
Oh,
is the villain.
oh
Um,
yeah,
but I think because technology has just taken such a leap
yep.
in first in line in
Well,
terms of with kids.
it's the competition right now, right? Is the technology toy versus like the building toy, the Legos or that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And Legos are still like somehow Legos are still extremely popular, extremely popular.
I think what I've noticed is even when you know, the kids that have the technology, the iPads and stuff, it is hard to buy toys. And even if you do buy a toy, it's like, here's this car that I got you. Here's this whatever toy that I got you. It's they're excited for it for a very small amount of time, and then it's okay. I'm gonna go back to my iPad or my
Yeah,
Switch or
yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah.
It's
Very true.
harder
Very
to
true.
they just aren't forced to play with them anymore like they used to be because
Yeah,
as even when we were kids we didn't have the same kind of technology and you would still buy us a toy and we would just get over it like super
yeah,
fast. So
yeah,
now because they have that technology it makes it even worse. I
yeah,
think a kid would play with a yo-yo now. I don't think they're going crazy over a yo-yo the same way
yeah.
they did back in the day.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, because you're right. Like I remember it would be like, or like even a Rubik's cube. It's the same thing. Like people would sit for hours doing Rubik's cube. You having a technology issue over there? Speaking of technology, or is this a non-technology related issue? Anyway, some of the other ones that I came up with, you probably don't even remember some of these. TV Guide. So TV Guide, which you I'm sure don't remember, used to be it was like a book. It was like a magazine that they sent out like every week or every month. So you'd know
Oh,
what was going
TV
to be on
guide,
TV.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And they used to have, I think they used to have, entertainment like stories in it and that kind of thing. Or they'd have, did they have crossword puzzles in it? They might have even had like crossword puzzles that were TV show related crossword puzzles. That's just gone.
Mhm.
Like I imagine the company that did TV Guide probably still exists, and probably if you go on the internet somewhere, you can look up TV shows on their website or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
they have like a digital thing.
Yeah, but as far as like being a thing, it's just gone. It's like,
Specifically, I think because people just don't have cable TV like that anymore. I
true.
think a lot of
Yeah,
people
true.
like you were a big cable TV person, but now you have YouTube TV and you
Right.
don't need that when you have YouTube TV. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well,
Like
and also
you
like
have the guide there
when it
already.
right. And but also when it was really big, there were like three major networks. It was NBC, ABC, and CBS, and that was pretty much it. Like, or you had your little, like, maybe local stations too that had it, but maybe you had eight channels total. So to,
Mhm.
put out a magazine that had the TV schedules for the week for those eight channels was not a big deal. Now with the number of channels there
Yeah.
are, it would be like a phone book, which also, by the way, is something that you really don't see anymore.
I think even in terms of like you're talking about the TV guide, but I think even it goes to like you I feel like when you were younger, you would always be like, "Oh yeah, go to yeah, watch this on channel 5."
Right.
If someone tells me with channel 5 now, like, what do you mean
Yeah.
channel 5? Like, what's channel 5?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, and then some more like kind of modern ones. And we've talked about this one before that have gone like kind of to the wayside. MySpace. Like it's funny that other social media platforms have sprouted up and have succeeded in that, and you have like something like MySpace, which was the kind of the original one, unless you want to go all the way back to
Mhm.
AOL Instant Messenger, but MySpace was kind of the original one, and I
Yep.
guess it's still there, but it's not there anymore. It's not like nobody's on it, I don't think.
Even that was just a completely different type of social media. Like even
Right.
that, it was just a completely different way of doing social media. I mean, even AOL Messenger, that was that that was such a funny time. Honestly, low key, that was like the original. It was like a version of Twitter almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was almost like
Yeah.
you would put your little away message. I'm on there and I'm chatting, and now I'm going to the kitchen to get a drink.
Yeah.
BRB, going to get a drink. BRB,
Yeah.
going to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Like you would just overshare. I think even, I don't know if you remember. I always remember when my Facebook memories pop up, how just oversharers we were when social media first started. I guess
Yeah.
people are kind of oversharers now in certain ways, like probably again the most on X, but when social media first started, Facebook, I was putting everything on Facebook. Anything I was doing, anywhere I was going, like people would check in all the time to different
Yeah.
places,
Oh yeah. Every time you went to dinner somewhere, there you had to do a check-in.
like we were just doing the most just because we could, just because that was the thing.
Yep.
And I think that is just such a funny time
Yeah.
of
You know
just
what the funny
the
one to me?
evolution of it.
So I remember when they added the feature to Facebook to be able to mark yourself safe, if like there was a
Oh yeah.
hurricane or you could go on and mark
Mhm.
yourself safe. Well, now that's just kind of become a meme. So every time like something happens, it'll be like
Mhm.
marked like, we had the No Kings uh, you know, protests
Oh
this
yeah,
last
yeah, yeah.
weekend, and you know, I'm sure somewhere you could go on and mark yourself safe from the No Kings protests.
Yeah, I don't really remember utilizing that, but I know now it's a lot more aesthetic.
Yeah.
And people are they share a lot on social media, but in a more aesthetic way, in a more structured way, in a just overall. just I'll post a couple of these photos, but I want them to look a certain way, and this is my social media life, and it has nothing to do with my real life. It's just a lot more curated now than it was back then.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let me see. Oh, the next one it has is clear see-through electric devices. Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Like these. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
really
well,
see it.
that was the original, the OG Mac uh, computer,
Oh, computer, yeah.
the
When they used to
iMac. That's
do,
what it was. It was the
they had like
iMac.
the see-through computer mouse.
Yeah, everything. Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
was. Oh, the phones. Remember the phones?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 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 yeah,
They
yeah.
had those as see-through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and speaking of phones, novelty landline phones. That's another
Oh,
one.
yeah. Yeah, we used to always, so like back in the day, um, yeah, 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 yeah. We
How
used to
funny.
always, we would all like your pop-up would always have like the ones that looked like the really old time ones, like where you the piece that you put by your ear was separate from the piece you talked into, like they always had those kind of things.
Yeah, that's funny. It's a helicopter.
Let's see. How about this? Some car ones that were a thing and aren't anymore. Remember the spinners, like
Spinners.
the rims on cars.
Oh, they don't have those
Everywhere
anymore?
you drove around, they're not. I mean, they're not as big a thing. You don't see. I think I've recently seen a car with some of them on, and I was like, "Wow, did he get those back in 2003?"
Yeah,
Like
they did used to be a thing. That's true.
they were
That's
they were
true.
a really like everywhere you'd go, you'd see somebody driving around with those, and they kind of just disappeared all at once.
I feel like one of our things now that is kind of going to be one thing like that is how we use how we use LED lights nowadays. Like we
Yeah,
got
that's gonna become. I agree.
we
Like at
love.
some point, people are gonna be like, "Wow, they really went nuts on these lights, these
Yeah,
taped
why do
down
they got
LED lights." Yeah,
yeah, why do they got wow, it'll be yeah, when I was a kid, I had LED lights all around my
yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah, I've seen an ad. I think it was probably on Instagram somewhere for like crown molding in your house. That can go around like the room. This company makes
Oh
stuff
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that it's crown molding. It looks like crown molding, but it's like plastic or something like that, and it like when you put it up, you can light it. So it's, in other words, it's got lighting inside of it. It's clear plastic, but it's got lighting inside of it, and and I see that and I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool. And then I think, no, in 5 years you're going to look at that and it's going to look so tacky, you
Like
know?
remember when you guys did I mean, actually there's two things about just design. I think a lot of just house design in general, like it is fun to see how it has evolved like now where it's just much more modern and we all got the shaker cabinets and we all got like all that stuff. I remember, back in the day, it was colored carpet. Like colored carpet
Oh
was,
God, yeah.
remember in our drum's house, y'all had green carpet,
Green. It was like hunter dark
like a
green. Like it, yeah, it looked like
Eagles green. It was,
yeah, it was. Oh, it was darker than Eagles green. Yeah, it was close to Eagles green though. Matter of fact, that might be because when that house went in, we got to pick the carpet. Like we were renting that house, but we knew the guy that was putting it in, and he let us pick out the carpet. And
and y'all
yeah,
said make
I
it
think we
green.
we
You
said we
got a
were like,
dark green?
you got anything darker? Yeah, yeah. We but then there was another house, and I don't think I'm trying to remember which one I'm thinking of that had like it was almost like mauve colored carpet.
Like you have to remember, like we look at that stuff now and are like,
Yeah,
ooh, I don't
just
like
wall to
carpet.
wall.
Period.
Yeah, I was gonna say wall to wall carpet like in general is like not
Like
something
no
I'm.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like we don't
but
have we have area rugs in our house and that's it. Because you know
but
why? Because
green
when they get
carpet?
dirty, you can throw them out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that was crazy. That
That was
was
a crazy
crazy.
design choice. And then you guys also, it was just like on top of that in your bedroom. You did the sponge wall. Remember the sponge
Oh
wall?
yeah, the sponge painting on the
That
walls.
was
Yeah, that
like
was a big
a
thing. The
that was
faux
also a
finish
big thing.
painting. Yeah.
And it's crazy when you look at that kind of stuff, or even, you know, if you see a real, even older house than that, and you see them with like the pink bathtub, the blue bathtub,
Oh
the
yeah.
yellow bathtub,
Yeah.
sink to match. Like at one time, it's crazy to even think about the fact that like that was just a something that somebody looked at and was like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that is
Yeah. The
it.
bright
That's the
the
look.
the
The
like
pink tub is what I
mustard
need.
yellow tub, the mustard yellow tub. There was a house that we looked at that we were thinking of buying at one point, and this house was at some stage of being remodeled, and the master bath had this big giant gloss black tub, and and at the time I wondered like, did they just put that in as part of their remodel? Because that's terrible. It looked horrible.
That is so
Yeah,
funny. Yeah.
I always, so we've done a lot to this house. And I always worry about that kind of stuff. I always worry about the kind of stuff that in like 5 years or 6 years or 10 years, people are going to look at and go, God, what were they thinking with putting that in here? And I don't think there's anything like that in here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to look at it now and say, in 5 years, people are going to be wondering what you were thinking. Like at the
Yeah.
time, you don't know what the trends are going to be or what trends are going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I look at like my kitchen, like it has, same as yours, like the light countertops, the white shaker cabinet, the light gray walls,
Right.
and you look at it and you're like, when would this ever not be,
Right.
like, when would this ever be ugly? It's so
Yeah.
neutral. When would it ever be ugly? But
Right.
I'm sure back in the day when, people were
Putting green carpet in.
putting green carpet in, they were thinking the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
when would this ever be ugly?
Yeah. This is
Why would
always going to
anyone
be
hate that?
classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in the early, say, maybe early 2000s, like all the houses were putting in kind of those yellow natural wood colored cabinets, the orangish yellow colored cabinets. You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about? Everywhere that you went, that's all you saw. Then there was a little while in the, I don't know, maybe mid 2010 era where everybody was putting in the really dark colored,
Oh,
cabinets. And
like
then that went to
the
waste. Yeah,
cherry
like the
wood
ones,
cabinets. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The one like we had when we were over in Tampa, that was a brand new house, and that was what they had in all of those houses. So
Yeah. Mhm.
it is those kind of things are definitely yeah, they're different to deal with because even like the houses that were built around the era of this one, they all had those big garden tubs in them that nobody uses. We have one here still, and
Mhm.
yeah, and it's funny because like now they're doing the what do they call them? Like kind of the freestanding tubs, You know what I'm
Oh, I
talking
like
about? The
those.
style that I'm
Yeah, I like
talking about.
those. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, when
Like
are
the
those
big
not? When
oval
are people? Yeah,
standalone.
exactly. When are those people going to look at those and go, God, what were they thinking? It's
Like, this
horrible.
is timeless. What?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
How
so
about?
another one. Oh, go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. Yours
I want
first.
to. Okay, well, mine says frosted tips.
I had that one too. I had that one too. That was never a thing for me, so I can't really comment on that. I was never
I
like
guess
a
the boys never got those either. And they had the
yeah,
right
no,
color hair that they could have really
yeah, true, true.
boy
Yeah,
bands
that was
though. Boy bands were
yeah.
eating up frosted
The
tips.
the thing I got said thanks NSYNC and Guy Fieri because they're kind of the two people. Yeah,
To this day, Guy Fieri has his
yeah.
frosted tips, something that he's
Um,
never let go.
oh, this is a good one. How about CD wallets? Remember, like you'd have that case with all of your music CD. Maybe you
Oh
don't. With all your
yeah,
music
in
CD,
your
it's like
glove
a little
box.
book, and you keep that in the glove box when you wanted to change the music.
Wow, that was called a CD wallet. Yeah, that's so funny. CDs in general. That's how you know an older car, because like the newer cars now doesn't they don't even have a space.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think I
Yeah.
don't think I have a
Yeah. I
little
mean,
CD slot.
I feel like the last generation of like cars that had those, it was like the screen popped up and you could put it, put the CD in. But yeah, I don't even think they do that anymore.
I think especially with the cars now that have the the Apple CarPlay
Yeah.
literally don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
CD slot. They're like Apple
Yeah.
CarPlay. You
And a
have
lot of them, like, I mean, like our car has a Spotify app built in, it has
yeah.
a YouTube app built in, you
You're like,
can
what do you
like
need a CD
all,
for?
yeah, exactly. You're like just streaming everything. Manual roll down windows. How about that one? Those are
I've
never coming
I've
back.
I've had to deal with that.
Yeah, it's
What
like
car was that?
churning butter. Uh, it was
The red one,
it was
right?
the
The
Corolla.
Corolla.
Yeah, it was the Corolla. Rest in peace.
And nothing was ever more embarrassing like in that time because that's when people like didn't really have that kind of
Yeah,
car anymore.
yeah.
So
Well, that
nothing was
no, see that not completely true, but that was like the era where power most cars had power windows as an option, but if you were buying like the entry level car, you were still cranking the windows. Now nobody's doing the crank windows anymore.
that was just so embarrassing like going somewhere and having to use a power window sitting there like,
Yeah,
that was just
yeah.
so embarrassing.
But you know what never happened then? You never were sitting at a drive-through behind somebody and they had to open their door to talk to the drive-through person because their power windows didn't work.
True. True.
There
My
was
power windows,
yeah, the manual windows like never broke down. There was
that is
never
true. That is true. Like, yeah, the button is never getting stuck. We're never, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Or the
No.
little motors never wearing out or
It doesn't matter if my car battery is dead. I can still roll down my window and I can roll
That's
it back up
right.
again.
That's
The car's
right.
off, I can still roll my window up.
Yeah, I'm not getting trapped in the car because I drove into a lake and
That's,
shorted everything out.
oh, wow, that's true.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Remember
bring it back.
how about some other like uh kind of fads? Remember remember planking?
Oh, I do because I did the I'm stuttering over my words. Yes,
Yeah.
I joined
You
in on that.
you
I
joined
was
in
a
on that.
participant. Yes. I have a photo probably if you dig deep enough on my Facebook, I
I
have a
know,
photo
right?
planking
Probably
on the
somewhere.
back of your
Yeah.
Taurus
Yeah.
in Tullis. Yep. I'm seeing it in my head.
And there was that the other one I think of is the ice bucket. Remember the ice bucket challenge where everybody was doing
Yeah.
that?
They recently tried to do a new ice bucket challenge on social media for I can't remember what it is, but it was for like a different,
Yeah.
something different.
Weren't there some others even around that time, like similar type things that like, and now I challenge these three other people to go and,
I think it was
cut.
mostly just the ice bucket. I don't remember any other trend, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there were some other ones. It was the
Uh,
copycat type things.
Let me see. Oh, my Tamagotchi.
I got that one too.
The good old Tamagotchi. I feel like the
Yeah.
kids nowadays, actually, though, I think they would like a Tamagotchi. I can see the kids playing with a
Yeah. Yeah.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's techy enough. It would hold.
it's
Plus, I feel like they'd
yeah,
be more advanced today.
yeah.
You
I
know?
actually should look into to getting Tamagotchis. I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine those if they have AI in them though? That could be like, wow. Those will be the thing that the AIs will use to take over the world.
here you got to keep this alive.
How about there was another toy one that skip it. You remember that thing where it was like you put the one
Oh
thing on
yeah, I
your
love
one
the
foot.
skip it.
Yeah,
I remember being pretty decent at the skip it.
yeah,
All things given. I tried to hula hoop the other day, or well, I guess it was a few months ago now, at Nico's party, and I just couldn't get it. And I don't think
yeah.
I think it was Heather. She was saying that it's because the hula hoop was too small, that it's not the
Maybe.
right size. It was a kid hula hoop. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, but like, why
Yeah.
can't I like twirl it
Yeah.
around?
It's
Like,
still,
that just,
yeah, it's still out of,
it needs to
it's
be
that
bigger.
your coordination as you get older gets worse, Alyssa.
Like, I
Yeah.
felt
You
like I
can't
was
do
doing
those
it the
kind of
same as I always was.
things.
Let's
What else
see.
we got
Oh,
here?
inflatable furniture, which
Inflatable.
makes
Yes.
which makes sense onto the, same era as the waterbed. They were just
Right.
like, yeah, anything except like actual furniture that's stuffed with like soft stuff. Let's just
Yeah.
all latex, fill it up with air or water, like whatever
And
you've got.
when you sit on that stuff, the problem is it never makes a good sound. You
Yeah.
know,
We want
it's
everyone to also hear that you're sitting down.
yeah, yeah. It makes that crinkly sound where people question that maybe you had gas, but they're not sure. They can't prove it. So
Like the girl in this photo, she's sitting on it like she's comfortable, and I'm sorry, there's just no way.
yeah, yeah,
There's just no way.
yeah. No,
So
no. Why am I sitting on a pool floaty in my house?
it's
That's what I want to know.
a pool
Like
floaty.
nobody
Right.
needs to sit on a pool floaty in the
That
house.
is so funny. Inflatable furniture. You know what's funny about that though is that actually is a trend that I feel like they try to bring back for like the mostly obviously the younger generation because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sitting on that.
yeah. You know,
But they had it in like Five Below, and I've
you know
looked
what?
at it before, like, oh, that would be cute for like a kid's room, but
You know what I think is prime though to be in years to be this kind of thing is, and you talked about like Love Sack, like those kind of sectionals. I think are primed to be like people going, what were we thinking with that furniture?
oh
I don't know
yeah,
why, but I feel like those are going to be one of those things where it's like we bought that. Remember, we bought that sofa that like you could configure it 800 different ways, and it had a subwoofer built into it.
yeah, and like I kind of like the Love Sack, but then you realize
Yeah.
how much they cost.
Oh
They
yeah.
are so
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And I went we actually cuz they have one I think it's in the Millennium it's either the Millennium Mall or the Florida Mall, I can't remember. But we we went in to go test it out cuz they have like their couches and their bean bags on display and real overpriced. Okay? Like very overpriced for what it
Yep.
is. For what it is. Like I could go to thousands and thousands of dollars, but I think they just go based off of well, yeah, but you can have it either just a really long couch or a sectional, or you can
Right.
like, do two
A
separate
sofa
couches.
and a
Like,
love. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so I think that,
You could do
that's why
15 chairs.
all just single chairs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they go off based off of that because you can absolutely go into any furniture store and find a way more affordable couch that's
Hmm.
way more comfortable. It just
Yeah.
feels like a regular couch when you sit on it. It's
I
nothing
think one of the
special.
things they sell those on though is all the accessories like the subwoofer or the phone charger
Oh
built in.
yeah.
Plus, I think you can take the covers off the whole couch and wash them if somebody spills a glass of wine on it, or at least that's what they say on the commercial. Yeah,
I think a lot of couches are starting to do that though where you can
yeah,
take
yeah.
off
I've seen
the
a lot of
covers.
what I would consider copycats, but they're copycats that are sold by regular furniture stores. So I think like I don't know if Lovesack's going to be with us, in the long run. I don't think they're going to be around. They're not going to be like what's it like Lazy Boy. They won't be around in like 100 years or however long Lazy Boy's been around.
So another one I have on here is slap bracelets, which also makes me think
Oh
of
yeah.
like slap bracelets are still a thing, but I
So
don't see
here's what
kids
I
like
want.
using them as much.
I want a
Oh,
slap bracelet Apple Watch band where I can just go whap and it's on. Somebody make
I'll
that
look. Yeah, I'll
and
look at
send
it
me
for
one.
you. Yeah, Father's Day just passed, you guys. Send him one.
Yeah.
Um, you know what's funny? This is just a little sidebar. Um, Adrian read a fact the other day that was, or actually it was this morning, about that people spend, I don't know, I think it was like a million or two. I probably have the number wrong, but some ridiculous amount more of money than for Mother's Day than Father's Day. I was
Yeah, yeah.
like, I was like, oh, well, of course. Like,
Oh yeah,
Mother's Day, you get taken out to brunch, you get flowers. Like,
right,
most people, I think, bare minimum, get their mom flowers for Mother's Day, which
right.
just on its own, you're spending
Yep,
like $50 just for a bouquet of flowers,
yep.
at least.
Meanwhile, I was grilling yesterday.
Yeah, he was grilling, guys. He made
Also,
really good burgers.
okay. So before we wrap up, not that I'm trying to rush the wrap up, but one thing I want to mention is today being the day before this podcast releases is your mom's my 35th anniversary. 35 years ago today, I had the great fortune of marrying your mom. So
35? That's crazy because
35
I'm,
years ago. Wait,
wow.
yeah, wait, I'm only 30. No, it's not. That's not. Yeah, I was thinking about it today because I was like, remember we were talking about doing something big for our 30th, and then it fell during COVID, so nobody was doing anything.
Wow,
So
it's
yeah,
35. Oh,
35,
congratulations. It sounds like
35.
she's cooking in the back. It sounds like she's aggressively
She,
chopping something.
yeah, she is. I should have taken her out. I think that's why she's aggressively
You
chopping.
should
Probably
have.
should have taken her out.
You
Yeah,
should have.
yeah.
Wow.
I probably got to get on that. So that's all I got.
Yeah, it is fun seeing the different trends. When I was reading some of those, I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Again, even the waterbed one specifically made me laugh because I knew that you guys had one. So it's like,
Yep,
wow,
yep.
look at my
And that
parents even falling into the trend as like 20
that's
year
right.
olds.
Which was 35 years ago. So there you are.
35 years ago, you had a waterbed. Wow.
Yep. Wow.
Congrats.
Right. So I hope that trend never comes back, and maybe some of these other ones will. All
All right,
right.
well, bye everybody. I hope you have a beautiful week.
And
And I'll
see you
see you
Thursday for
Thursday.
game day.
Yes. See you back on Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.